In the city, where you must be safe to not die, two men bring to you the rules, laws, and regulations of safety. And they are known as the Evil Safety Dudes. That was terrible.
That's us, right?
That was supposed to be us, yeah.
Oh, cool. I wasn't sure. So, are we enforcing city safety rules?
No, you'll die in the city.
You die in the city.
It's a dangerous
city.
city.
It's not a show about a city that has crazy safety rules.
No.
And we're like the safety czars.
Right, no. In
like
the city,
enforcing the
dangerous.
Curfews and like it's like martial law. Like,
No, I just...
Or maybe there's like these creatures that go underground, and if you make vibrations, they come up
Tremors.
and eat you. And so two guys have to educate the whole city on safety, how to not get eaten by giant worms.
Tremors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that, though.
Did you ever keep going with Tremors? Like, I think I
No.
just watched Tremors 4
Nuh-uh.
or 5.
Kevin Bacon was in the first one.
Yeah,
wasn't
he's
he?
in the first one.
Yeah. I remember the elephant gun and the pogo stick.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
The first one was a blast.
You know, yeah.
And then the Tremors kept evolving. And you
Okay.
ended up with, like, the butt blaster Tremors. And there was,
Okay.
like, flying Tremors.
Okay.
And then, like, in this last one,
Sharknado.
there was, like, a super Tremor. It was,
Okay.
like- yeah, it was nuts. Oh, yeah, Sharknado was great.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on, like, B-rate horror movies. I love them. If the movie ever started with "it came from," I've seen it.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Like, so many of them. Dude, they're great.
Well, so I mean, I can't even like correct you on the show title because that was all accurate. you know?
It's just an intense. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
die in the city.
Yeah, we are the evil safety dudes.
I wasn't ready.
Yeah, okay. We are the
Evil Safety Dudes. You weren't ready that time.
No, I was giving you a pause. I was giving like a brief second there.
I like it.
All right, so what are we really talking about today if
think
it's not
we wanted to
people
do
eating
some,
earthquake-causing giant earthworms?
Well, yeah, I guess. If it's not that, though, I think we were going to do some respiratory hazards.
Yeah, airborne contaminants.
You know?
So overview.
Broad strokes.
Maybe in the future we'll do a super insane 1 hour podcast on silica only.
Yeah.
Or hex chrome
Dive
only.
into it.
Or nuisance dust only, or lead
Yeah.
only. But right now, just an overview.
I think today a good look at all that stuff.
Yeah,
Talk
just
about the fun abbreviations for all those words that people throw around. We'll talk about the different types of particulates that could be in the air, exposures, protections. Just a bunch of good general info, and then maybe somebody will shoot us an email saying, "Hey, I do have this stuff. Could you be more specific?" And,
Right.
And then we'll come at you with some good stuff.
But before we jump into that, what's new since our last recording?
I killed another mole.
Another one. You're on fire, dude.
I know, man. I've been after
Mole
him.
hunter AJ.
Dude, my yard is just it looks more like a Mario Kart racetrack right now than it does an actual yard. I'm not happy.
Yeah. Well, you
Very
got two,
grumpy.
so that's got to make you more
Yeah,
happy.
dude. Yeah, I'm on it. I've been out. Well, and so I pulled those two out, and I've been out there like tamping down and flattening everything back out, trying to see if anything gets disturbed. I reset my traps. Nothing for a couple days now. I got those two like bang bang, and then like nothing. So I don't know if like just a few of them moved into my yard. My neighbor dogs. We don't have any dogs, but my neighbors have two big dogs. One's a lab, and the other one's he's just a mutt. I'm not sure what he is, but he's hilarious and huge. And they've been digging holes. So I don't know if they've been digging moles up and just playing with them, and that's how I got rid of some of mine, or if I only ended up with the two in my yard. But I'm hoping I'm done.
Well, you'll find out.
I know. I'm going to keep
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
How about you? What's going on?
Had a really busy weekend. We had a awesome Muay Thai seminar. We brought in a genuine master of Muay Thai who's fought in Thailand and been a coach forever. Yeah,
cool.
4-hour seminar, like flew by.
Right, yeah.
I mean, just the insane elbow work, like just the intricacies of dropping elbows. It was so awesome. I was like, probably the most excited one in the room.
He's just super geeked.
I mean, I teach Muay Thai, so obviously I'm into it. So I was just like soaking it up.
That's awesome.
Every time he said something I taught the students, I was like, yeah.
It just like beefed you up a little bit more.
But then every time he added like an extra detail and I'm learning, then I'm like, yeah, this is so cool. It was just a great time. Really,
Dude, that's so
really,
cool.
really cool dude. Crazy stories talking to like fighters who fought, in the 80s and 90s in Thailand and you know, just how like, you know, all the different mobs like ran the fights and you fought for mobs, like, you know.
Oh,
it
holy
was,
smokes.
Yeah, it was like, you know,
Like an actual 80s like Street Fighter movie.
yeah, totally, like, you know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really cool though.
Cool stories, yeah. And then we went and helped out a pro boxing fight that night.
Oh, that event you were talking about.
Yeah, I had a corner,
Very
guy who
cool.
came with no corner, and one of our other students helped out the athletic commissioner and did weigh-ins the night before. And so busy weekend, a lot of cool stuff going on.
That's
but,
hardcore stuff.
yeah, I usually need a weekend from my weekend. So
Yeah.
but
You don't get that. You get to go to work.
Yeah, and talk about airborne contaminants.
That's right.
Actually, I went Monday. You know, then the next day I'm dead. Taught 7 hours straight,
Yep.
and then went and taught 3 hours that night.
Oof.
Yeah,
That's
but
a good day.
yeah, you
What a
know,
hefty day.
rock and roll. So you know, we could rest when we're dead. But
That's right.
yeah, we wanted to do a show on airborne contaminants just because there's a lot, and I'm tired of saying, "Hey, do you?" You know, I'm talking to a welder, right? I'm like, "You weld on stainless steel? You weld on chrome? Oh, so you're all up on hexavalent chromium then?"
Right.
They're like, "What? What's that?"
You know about this heavy metal poisoning
You ever got that
Hexchrome?
where they don't know what it is and they're a welder?
Yes.
Who welds on stainless?
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially people who do like pipe rack or plumbing repair in these big facilities and plants where everything has to be food safe,
Oh yeah.
stainless.
It's all stainless, man.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh man, all right, so you're not somebody I even need to talk about hexchrome. You're super good on it. And they're like, wait, what's hexchrome?
What's that?
I'm like, oh snap, never mind, other direction.
Same with talking about a construction guy, demo guy, concrete guy about silica, and they're like,
Yeah, what?
"What?"
Yeah, we know silica. We get it. We've been hearing about it forever. We don't do anything about it. What do you got to say?
Let's rattle off some airborne contaminants real quick. I talked about it a little bit as we started, but lead.
Lead, asbestos,
Okay.
all right, silica,
Okay.
hexchrome,
Okay.
nuisance dust is
All right.
actually an airborne contaminant.
You're taking all the good ones.
Oh, sorry.
I can't say anything now.
Oh snap! Sorry, I thought you just wanted me to go.
No, because that would have been a.
I like how there isn't even words anymore.
Well, no, in death metal you can't understand the words anyway.
Hey, they would disagree.
I said ass AJ.
They very much, man. They disagree with you. They believe you can understand.
No, yeah, the people who actually listen, they understand everything. But from a person who doesn't
Yeah,
listen
I
to
don't
it
get
very
it.
often, it's just like,
Right? Man, this guy really likes potatoes. I clearly heard potato in there. He must love them. So,
did we run out?
oh, no,
There's got to
man.
be 100 more. Oh, all the chemical vapors,
oh yeah, chemical vapors.
isocyanates. Anytime you are working with a chemical, you could have a certain amount of parts per million in the air of
Yep.
that. If it, you know, could turn into a gas, fume, vapor, things like that. So chemicals,
Yep.
they're hardcore airborne contaminants.
right?
I suppose if you're like grinding on metal and it had a surface coating on it,
Yeah.
you're gonna make that into an airborne
Oh, heck
contaminant,
yeah.
an airborne hazard. It could be just paint.
Well, yeah, but you still want to breathe that in.
Yeah, and then paint fume by itself. If you're painting with industrial paints,
Right.
that you can contaminate the air.
Yep.
What else? If your coworker had a high protein lunch, that could be an airborne contaminant.
Now I don't know if this is just a the them being them or if it like really happened because I wasn't there. But two of the guys that we work with and have trained claim that they were in a confined space together.
Okay.
And the one was flatulating so much he set off the four-gas monitor.
Methane.
I mean,
Some are calibrated to methane for your combustible sensor. Some are calibrated to pentane, which would still pick up methane. We'd have to, let's call Mythbusters.
that's a Mythbusters
I want to
episode.
let's recreate this event.
But they swear up and down.
I got to know.
They were in a small, it was actually a chemical vessel, and it was small, and both guys fit in it, and they were welding on it, and they swear up and down that the one guy's flatulence set off the four-gas meter.
If they're welding in a permanent required confined space, though, I'd assume they already have respiratory protection on. But
And fans, and like,
yeah,
I mean, so I don't know. It just cracks me up still to this day.
it's
That
something
story
to
is so funny,
consider.
right?
Yeah.
But then anytime you've got anything that's like a fast-acting agent, like a solvent or a sealant,
Okay.
those are going to cause a ton of those vapors and fumes, you know,
Right.
things that you could accidentally breathe in.
Rotting organic material.
Oh, yeah.
will produce like hydrogen sulfide. That would be an airborne contaminant.
It would definitely be an airborne contaminant.
So, yeah, all
There's
right.
a ton of stuff.
We named a lot.
We did.
All right. I think we could start talking about specifically. Silica is what comes to mind right now because it's kind of OSHA's new toy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a few years now.
Yeah.
But it rocked the safety world.
It did. They really, really upped the ante on it.
Because I don't think they had updated that standard for 60 years or something like that.
Well, OSHA's only 50 years old.
Okay, for 50 years. Do the math.
I don't
1970 to 2021.
Yeah. But I don't think it had been updated.
Well, it didn't. It could
Like,
have
at
been.
all.
Yeah. And so it was pretty bad. And then I think with advances in, not even necessarily, well, advances in technology help us to be able to monitor for that low of an action level. I know that was an issue back in the day. But I also know when you have more time and you got more research and you got more data, they realize how bad silica was for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silica, I did some in-depth research into when that reg was really getting big, and it was surprising. I learned a couple of neat things. A couple of them, just the highlights, was like, since the 1930s, there have been people pushing in the medical industry to lower the action level for silica. Since the 30s, like way pre-OSHA, they were like...
In which industry?
Not manufacturing, construction.
Okay.
And they were really trying to get it so that these people weren't so exposed because they were being overcome by silicosis and dying.
Right.
And they were like, this sucks. But then the reason they could never get it passed is they would actually always try to make these like regulations on it. And then even when OSHA came out, they tried to increase the regulations. Technology for the production of construction equipment or just the actual construction itself, it couldn't keep up with the action level. If they were like, we want to lower it to this number, then they were like, well, then there's no construction.
Right.
And yeah, it was just a battle, like back and forth. So
what does silica do to you?
if you inhale the respirable crystalline silica, which they say has to be 1/100th the size of a grain of sand.
That's pretty small.
That's pretty small. So you got to pulverize it first with some sort of a high-powered,
Grinder,
crazy
cutter,
activity. Yeah, on your
jackhammer,
Yeah,
hammer drill.
yeah.
So what does it do to you?
So if you breathe it in, your body can't pass it. It can't digest it. It can't dissolve it. It can't pass it through you. And it can actually impact you on a molecular level. Like it can get at you cellularly because it's so small and fine and sharp and dangerous. So your body will actually encapsulate it. And it stores it.
I was told that it's like those crystalline particles are like daggers.
Yeah.
So they're just like doof, 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 like stabbing into your lung tissue when you're breathing them in.
Yeah.
And your body will try to cough, but it can't get them out.
Correct.
And so that nodule or that encapsulation that goes over them is the body's way of putting it in jail because it's a foreign species it can't get rid of. So it's like, I'm gonna put you in jail.
Basically.
But then what I heard was, and this is the same with asbestos too,
Correct.
that if your lung is more filled with nodules than functioning tissue, you're going to have all kinds of respiratory problems.
For sure, dude.
What I still don't understand, which I need to research, but I heard that breathing in silica, over the permissible exposure limit, day in and day out for a long time, could even cause tuberculosis.
Well, so
that doesn't make sense to me.
I would need to understand tuberculosis a little more, but from my limited knowledge.
It's just like COVID. It's spread by airborne droplets. It's a respiratory disease.
Well, but I thought I also understood that almost everybody has inactive tuberculosis, like inside all.
Okay,
of us.
if that's accurate, I could see that somehow this issue caused from the silica, triggers
it can bring on the tuberculosis.
Because that's weird to me.
Right.
To get a disease when you're not exposed to a person who has the disease.
Well, yeah, and that's why I'm pretty sure every person actually has a bit of tuberculosis. But it's inactive. It's kind of like you've been immunized. Usually when you're a baby or growing up, you got all those immunizations, and then most people have actually had that tuberculosis.
So we should research that one, but for sure I understand silicosis.
Yep.
And then
the
lung
shutting
cancers.
down of your lungs because of silica, and then the cancers.
Yeah.
All that damaged cell trying to repair itself. And
so Everybody listening, I bet you, has breathed in silica dust before.
Oh, man. Heck
How
yeah.
come they're all alive, Mr. AJ?
The human body is amazing. Human body is super cool. And even though you breathe in some and your body encapsulates it and then it doesn't go anywhere, it's yours permanently forever, it actually takes quite a bit for it to have a largely negative impact on your body. You got to breathe it in above the action level for a long period of time for it to start overwhelming your body.
Right. I say it's like smoking cigarettes.
Okay. I can see that.
Because I can smoke a cigarette right now and not get emphysema, COPD, or lung cancer.
Probably not.
I can smoke a pack today and not get any of those.
Probably not.
I can smoke a pack for a week and not get any of those.
Yeah, probably not.
I bet you, I'm not going to do this, but I could smoke a pack a day for a year and not get any of those.
I mean, I still wouldn't.
No.
But you probably would.
Super bad for you.
Super bad for you.
But keep doing that.
Right.
Go on year 2, year 3, year 4, and bam.
The likelihood starts
Watch
going up.
the COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease,
Right.
emphysema,
And as your
lung
body tries
cancers.
to push that stuff through you, that's one of the gross, terrible things about silica, is your body will do its best to try to push it through. So any that coats your mouth that you accidentally swallowed or gets in the back of your throat and you swallowed and it starts to get in your stomach, it can actually give you like stomach cancers and intestinal cancers and renal failures. Yeah.
That's bad for you to get in your GI tract too?
It's terrible. Well, because it literally is so tiny and sharp, like you said, it impacts molecularly. It just stabs those cells like little daggers.
Huh. Doesn't sound fun.
No, it's
Microscopic
horrific.
daggers in your body.
In your body.
So I've always gotten upset when somebody's on a site and they just fill up the room that 3 to 4 to 5 other contractors are in with silica dust.
They just walk in with like a big wall.
It's rude.
Like sander to start like grinding that wall
It's
down.
rude. You have no care for your fellow man.
No.
It's rude. So can OSHA bust you if you're in that room and you're not even the contractor that created that dust cloud?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Should we play the game?
Sure.
Are you not doing it?
I got to do the sound. Okay.
Oh. That was a pretty good one. I like how you were trying to do it, but you were smiling, so it was harder.
Yeah, it's hard to make that noise. But I asked the question right, so I could come up with another one.
No, that's a good question.
Oh,
though,
but you
because-
didn't answer it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So OSHA always has access to what's called multi-employer citations. And anybody in this whole realm of you could be the creating, the controlling, or the exposing contractor on a job site. And any one of those, if the hazard exists, you can actually get cited for the hazard. So a lot of people just think, well, I didn't create it. It's not my problem. But then they don't realize that, they could be controlling or exposing, and they could still get charged with the hazard that they didn't do.
So which
silica's a
one
great
would
example.
this contractor be?
Exposing.
Exposing, because
Yeah.
they're exposing their employees to it, and the
Right.
contractor that did it was the creating. The general would be the controlling.
Yep.
All right, so we could really just keep talking about silica all day.
Oh,
but
for sure.
let's just try to wrap it up with something useful. So don't create white dust clouds anymore.
All right. What are the
You-
two big methods?
Use engineering controls. Use wet water, basically.
wet water. I'll
wet
be sure not
water.
to use that dry water.
And also use HEPA filtered ventilation, vacuums, stuff like that.
Right. Keep the air clean.
Yeah, you could also use ventilation, push it away from you, stuff like that. But
Yep.
the days of creating big white plumes of silica dust and just working in it all day are over.
Right. And that's any of those things. It doesn't have to be just concrete. It's brick, block, stone, mortar, plastics, glass, sandblasting, all those things that create that dust cloud.
Yeah, sandblasting. They would sandblast with silica sand.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Now you
Use
gotta use
walnut shells.
or there's a couple other ones that they
Tofu.
acorns. I wouldn't blast with tofu. Gross.
All right, so let's move on to another airborne contaminant.
I don't know. All I'm going to be thinking about today is a sticky building
Tofu
cover.
blaster.
Gross.
Let's go to hexavalent chromium.
Hex chrome. I know you've actually had to work with this more than I have. I've done, plenty of work with it, around it, and trained on it, but I know you've actually worked with groups of people that have been exposed.
Yeah, for sure. And that's how silica came so easy to me.
Because you already
It
had
was like
that.
ditto hex chrome.
Right.
I like obviously different contaminant,
Right.
but all the rules of if you're exposing your employees to it, you got to do some testing to see how much they're being exposed to it. That monitoring is required in both standards, and most companies aren't doing that. Once you find out, and the testing's got to be legit, once you find out what they're at, if it's over the action level, then you got to start doing engineering, and stuff like that. So they were so similar. I mean, if I was OSHA, I would do the same thing. Like, we already have standards and processes and procedures and rules for dealing with airborne contaminants. We could probably copy and paste a lot of this over to this new thing we're playing with. But yeah, I worked with a guy who was a safety guy, and a lot of the people that he was over actually got cancer from hex chrome.
Man, that sucks.
Back in the day. He was depressed about it, but to his defense, this was at a time period where we didn't really know the hazards of it.
Okay.
So they had a bunch of people, small warehouse, all welding on chrome, stainless steel, all day in, day out, 8, 10, 12-hour days, long weeks, no real ventilation other than regular, like, HVAC.
Like air conditioning.
Yeah, no, like, a negative pressure hood right over your welding station,
Okay, nothing to just, like, focus
Yeah, this
in
back in the day. No respiratory protection, and these guys breathing in
all day.
That fume's coming off that weld and got cancer. A lot of them did. And he was the safety guy, and so he felt responsible.
Man, that would suck.
Yeah, I mean,
my heart actually does go out to that guy.
It would suck. You don't know what you would do until you go through it.
Yeah.
But me on the other side of it go, well, logically, you don't know. Like, it's not like you didn't know because you were ignorant, you didn't go get trained. But it's like you didn't know because it wasn't known.
Right. This was not something people were even talking about yet.
Yeah. So that's how we figure out a lot of workplace hazards is we start seeing a ton of, like, why are all these 20-year-old males getting lung cancer? It takes time and years for people to put that together, and they go, wow, they're all associated with this trade. Whoa, let's research this. What do they all do? Oh, they're the grunts, and they're made to grind concrete to smooth out what the form's messed up, and so they breathe this stuff in all day,
Right. And then they got to find out what that stuff they breathed in was.
Yeah,
dangerous.
It starts to click. So, I mean, it takes time to figure this stuff out. If it's not something that kills you right away.
Right.
If it's something that takes a chronic exposure to mess you up, no one just figures that out right away.
Right.
So, hex chrome is the bad stuff, and engineering.
It's primarily created when you do anything that's that superheated work on your chrome or stainless steel.
Yep. So all the people who weld in the food manufacturing industries, you should be super aware of this. And the actual name is hexavalent chromium.
Hexavalent chromium. It's also very prevalent in automotives.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of people who work on custom fabricated like headers or mounts or pieces of equipment on like motorcycles or other pieces that have that stainless steel or chrome.
My story from those guys getting cancer was from automotive industry. Yeah, I just didn't say the name of the company,
but yeah, it's definitely out there. It's all over the place, and it's that stainless steel, that chrome, and those heavy metals they get created. Those heavy metal fumes actually come right off of it.
Let's talk about the coolest disorder name in the history of medical problems that you could have.
Awesomeness
disorder? No.
Awesomeness.
No. I do have that, though.
You got the awesomeness-itis?
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I have awesomeitis. It's
Awesomeitis.
different than awesomeness-itis. I have a better rate of survival than awesomeness-itis.
Oh, so now awesomeness-itis is lethal?
Yeah. You could
Awesomitis
die.
is lethal?
They're both lethal, but I have a better prognosis. People with just regular awesomitis are more likely to survive than people who have awesomeness-itis. But no, to me, one of the coolest names. I would never want to go through this.
Okay.
And if you've gone through it or known someone gone through it, I feel for you. But the coolest names.
Okay.
If you're trying to be a tough guy, and you have this disorder, and you tell people, you sound kind of cool.
All right, let me hear it.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Heavy metal poisoning.
I thought you were going to say heavy metal fevers.
Heavy metal fume fever.
Yeah.
That sounds all right, but heavy metal poisoning?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm poisoned with heavy metal. Yeah. That's what they told me when I was a kid.
That's right.
You guys are poisoning you listening to that.
With the heavy metal.
So let's talk about metal fume fevers and heavy metal poisonings. It's right in the same vein.
Yeah,
as
it's
the
basically,
hex-chrome,
yeah.
but it's not hex chrome.
Not hex chrome. It could be any of all sorts of other different activities from, your welding.
On galvanized coated metal. That's bad for you, breathing in that stuff.
And then a lot of those other coatings, like you said, galvanized
Zincs.
coated. But yeah, those coatings, and then when you start to cut or heat them, or even hitting them with a grinder and stuff, can introduce them to the air, and then you breathe in those heavy metals.
Now,
And now they're
do
eating
you know
you.
the symptoms of heavy metal poisoning or metal fume fever?
Yeah, it's always 2 fingers and your thumb tucked in. A lot of head banging, right? Oh, no, it's not. Oh, okay.
No, that is a symptom of the other heavy metal
The
poisoning.
other heavy metal poisoning.
Yeah. But the medical condition,
Is it like shortness of breath,
it's
nausea,
flu symptoms,
vomiting?
like word for word.
I'm trying to read all the bullet points off from that
Yeah,
slide.
you're trying to visualize the slide in your
Yeah.
head. It's flu,
Okay,
and that's the problem.
because it looks like something else.
So you have metal fume fever, but you just feel like you have a super bad cold. You have the flu.
That makes it very difficult to diagnose.
Yeah, so you just call in. You're like, oh, man, I don't know. I got a bug at work. Sorry, boss, I can't make it in. He's like, all right, hope you feel better.
Right.
But then you go back and you don't change anything because you didn't
Right.
put 2 and 2 together that actual illness you got came from work.
Right. That respiratory exposure.
So you just keep doing it over and over again.
Right. Every couple of weeks, you're like, why am I always so sick?
Yeah.
I'm just not very healthy.
Yeah, it's bad stuff.
And maybe you're not, but at the same time, breathing in all those heavy metal vapors is not doing you any good.
Right. All right, so let's go on to asbestos then.
Asbestos. You know what's crazy about doing asbestos is it's almost the same as telling people to avoid silica. It's another one of those airborne exposures. It's floating around.
Right.
If you have it present, if you're working around it or with it, and you know it's going to be a problem, it's kind of the same thing.
And asbestos issues have been talked about longer. Like, I think it's a household name.
Oh, yeah, for
Like,
sure.
I don't think silica's a household name,
Not really. Not the way that it is.
If you're at Thanksgiving dinner and you got 10 family members around the table and you're like, hey, who knows about silica?
They're,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Then
But
you're
if
like,
you say, hey, tell me about asbestos, almost everyone,
Yeah. Oh, that kills
barring
you.
a child,
Right.
would be able to say something about it.
Exactly.
So, it's been known the hazards for longer. Now, I was told if you look at crystalline silica under microscope, it looks like, a shard of glass.
Right.
And I was told if you looked at asbestos fiber under the microscope, you would be jealous if you were a fisherman.
Because it's just like the coolest, nastiest barbed little hook ever.
Barbed.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like
Right.
you could just look like. We should actually get some pictures of those microscopic images of them and put that in the presentation.
Yeah.
Because when you see that I'm breathing in that fiber, that's barbed up and jagged,
Yeah.
it's
not coming out.
You realize that then.
Yeah.
Like, that's hooking in, and
Yeah.
no
And again,
cough is going to cough that out of me.
It's super tiny, super thin. Your body is actually not able to break it down. And once it goes into you, it's stabbing into you. And after it doesn't go anywhere, your body encapsulates it, and then it's yours. Like, that's it.
And now instead of silicosis, we got asbestosis,
Asbestosis.
and mesothelioma
Ooh,
and lung cancer.
That's a cancer, isn't it? Isn't mesothelioma a cancer?
It sounds like one. We got to listen to those commercials
Yeah,
better.
I'll have to research that one.
No, the commercials on TV every night.
Oh, yeah. That'll tell you. If you have mesothelioma.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
A condition caused by breathing
up
in
to-
asbestos.
Up to about 1981, almost all building materials they were finding ways to incorporate asbestos into because it was so amazingly great at stopping the spread of a fire.
Well, it's wonderful, except to breathe.
Yeah.
It's a binding matrix as well.
It's really good at keeping
It's a
stuff stuck
really
together.
good binder. And almost every asbestos class that I've been a student in,
Mm-hmm.
they always tell the story of Wizard of Oz.
Oh,
Have you heard that?
yeah. It's
That
tragic.
all the fake snow or whatever was asbestos.
Just pure asbestos.
Just raining asbestos on everybody.
Yep.
So that's bad. A lot of people died from the 9/11 terrorist attacks from asbestosis, mesothelioma. lung cancers, all of us have in our image that are old enough, those people coming out completely coated
Yeah, they were just
in that dust when the building came down.
Yeah.
Asbestos laden dust. I mean,
Oof.
everybody there that day just
They were just choking.
people
on
are
it.
still dying from the 9/11 terrorist attacks from asbestos.
That's so rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not a fun way to go, like at all. Talk
No.
about a horrific, miserable way to die.
Yeah.
Asbestos death that's rough.
So you got to disturb it though, like silica. Like
Right.
concrete is not a threat to you
Right.
until you pulverize it.
Same thing like an asbestos tile. If you got those 9x9 asbestos tiles, and you're not disturbing them, they're just sitting there. They're not an asbestos danger. But
What
if you
kind of
wanna-
tile are you talking about?
Those asbestos mixed tiles. It's like a 9x9
Floor tile?
Well, yeah. So they got the 9x9 floor tile. And
Okay.
then what's the ceiling tile? That one's got another.
Well, there's asbestos in some ceiling tile.
Yeah.
There's asbestos in everything.
Yeah.
The countertops, the glue under the tile,
Yep.
some of the mortars.
But that's one of the specific ways to spot an asbestos floor tile is they were almost all 9x9.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those 9x9 floor tiles, paint, like straight up just paint.
I know lead's a big issue in paint.
Yep.
But you're saying they put some asbestos in paint
In
too?
paint. Yeah.
That's no fair.
Yeah, when we were doing a construction project with one of my groups here in Sioux City, they were renovating older buildings to turn them into apartments.
Okay.
They did the asbestos sampling in the building, and they found it in the glue that held the carpet down,
Okay.
in the floor tiles, in the wall paint, and then in the insulation between the sheetrock, in the ceiling tiles, and then in all the plumbing installation.
Yeah. I mean,
The building was made out of asbestos.
the number one thing when I think of building material made out of asbestos, I think of pipe insulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, everything else was like somewhere between 5 and 10%.
Right.
And then when we got to the insulation, it was 97% asbestos.
Yeah, no, it's hardcore.
It was literally just like a little bit of glue and then asbestos.
And there's so many OSHA regs on asbestos. You
Yeah.
know, the signs.
You know how normally we go over like, sometimes we'll cover like OSHA citations or like
Okay.
cases. So in our local area,
Okay.
the largest citations we've ever seen come out of Sioux City are asbestos and lead related,
Okay.
like over $200,000 a pop.
Wow.
Yeah, they're gnarly. Same, yeah. If you look around the rest of the country and you get on OSHA.gov and you go to those, you can actually search by highest. Yeah, you'll
Okay.
start finding them, and they're constant. Asbestos, lead, asbestos, lead.
Yeah, exposing folks to it is just not good,
Yeah.
especially when you get caught. You know.
Super dangerous, especially when you get caught.
Yeah. So
Jeez.
disturbing it, you have to make it friable.
Yep.
You
where it
have to
releases
somehow
fibers.
cut it, hit it with a ladder. You know, make
Right.
it.
Or if you're like tearing it off the wall.
Yeah,
or,
demolition stuff
Yeah.
like that. You can encapsulate it and just not deal with it
Right.
instead of demo it out. You have to put up signs. Those
Yep.
tests, when they know, you got presumed asbestos containing
Yep.
material, PACM, and then you got asbestos containing material.
Yep, confirmed.
And then I see those signs all the time.
Mhm.
You know, when companies are on it, they have an older
Right.
plant. I'm getting ready to go to the boiler room, right there on the door. Asbestos containing material in here, warning, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And people are freaked out. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm totally not scared to go in here.
As long as they're not ripping
As
it
long
off
as
the
we
wall.
don't start scraping everything we touch,
Exactly.
you know. But yeah, I mean, people have a big fear of it when they see those signs.
Right.
But they can't get you if you don't disturb it. And then, the wet demo, just like silica.
It helps.
Yeah,
But
you're
with
not going to.
asbestos, you still got to do. Yeah, they don't just
There's
say you
training
can
and
just-
certifications
Yeah.
too, just like with lead removal.
Yeah.
You can't just like, hey, thanks, new kid out of high school.
Here's
Go
a
tear
garden
down
hose."
that asbestos for me.
Right? Yeah.
No,
Well,
you got to be trained. And,
Believe it or not, I actually just got asked that as a consulting question like a month
Okay.
ago. A guy was like, hey, we're asked to go do this job here at this other location, and they wanted us while we were there to take out some asbestos.
right?
Can't we just spray that with like a hose and,
Right.
and peel it out
A
and
little
throw
weed
it away?
sprayer.
And I was like, oh, haha, that's funny. Until I realized like he wasn't kidding.
Right.
I was like, oh, snap. No, we're not asbestos abatement. We can't do that professionally for another company. So don't think it's okay to just like spray it down and then pull it out. There's a lot that goes into abatement.
Yeah. Let's move into lead.
Oh, man.
'Cause- Because that's
Lead's big.
you have to be certified to do that,
Oh, yeah.
and you need CEUs for that.
You got to have CEUs ongoing, so you have to have current credentials,
Yeah.
updated license.
I've helped create programs. I've been the program administrator administrator of lead abatement, lead training.
I'm the lead administrator.
Aaron, no. I would administer lead. I'm going to pump you full of lead. That's G.I. Joe right there.
I like it.
And we used to even have to when we put somebody through the course for, renovating, for abatement, for the contractor, whatever they were, there were different certifications had. You actually had to put their picture on the certificate even.
Oh, nice.
The state was like hardcore.
Like if you need lead certificates, you got to have your face on it.
One time we put on a lead course and no one signed up. So, we didn't have it.
Okay.
Well, the state showed up to audit it.
Ugh.
And we're like, oh, we're sorry. No one showed up for this.
Yeah.
So it's not happening. You can't audit something that's not happening. Well, he was going to give the instructor personally a civil penalty, a $100 fine, because the state regulates it so hard that if you don't cancel your course with the state in a certain amount of time, you could get penalized.
Oh, snap. So then what? Did you just have to have the class for nobody there, or did you take the penalty?
No, I mean, there's no class. We're not having a class. So I talked him out of penalizing my instructor.
Thankfully.
But I gave him a little bit of an earful.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, our bad. We'll make sure if we ever have a canceled class, we will let you know it's canceled.
Yeah.
Okay, that's in the rules. It's right there. Our bad. I said, but you got to look at your rules. It's hard to get certified instructors to teach this.
Right.
They keep updating the stuff and don't send out the curriculum. It's up to every individual instructor to go update their curriculum every time they come up. It's just a lot of work, not a lot of money. And then you're going to, on top of that, penalize the individual instructor, not even the company. OSHA doesn't even do that.
No.
OSHA hits the company.
Yep.
And I'm like, do you want anybody teaching this course for you in the state? You should probably chill out a little bit.
I mean, that probably didn't help him chill out at all, but I'm glad they did.
I said it professionally.
I would just tell him, chill out. You know what you need to do, government guy? You need to chill out.
But that's how hardcore they regulate that stuff.
Yeah.
The trainers to the certificates.
Dude, if you accidentally mishandle lead and you let it become a part of the local ecosystem or even just infiltrate somebody's vehicle, like you're talking about, lifelong injuries and death.
Yeah, and
lead's rough.
I learned about lead before I was a safety guy, really, kind of from firearms.
Oh, sure.
Reloaders, people that work at ranges, people who are avid shooters, they can get a buildup of lead in their system.
Right.
And it could cause your blood pressure to go so high you stroke out.
Oof.
Yeah. So if you're working at a range, you're collecting all that brass, you glove up, wash up, and they even want you to make sure you're not laundering your clothes with the family clothes because lead's gonna cross-contaminate from your clothes to their clothes.
Yep.
That's how a bunch of sailors' wives were dying back in the day from all these from asbestos, cross-contamination. They weren't like staying on base. They would go home every night, and just the laundry job, wives were grabbing those clothes, pulling it against you to carry a big bundle of clothes. They were getting it,
breathing it in right off the clothes.
And with lead,
oof.
People who were exposed to lead were bringing it home to their kids. Oh, and that's like the biggest issue with lead a lot is the kids. They cannot handle it like adults can.
Right.
It jacks them up bad. So there's all kinds of just city agencies about lead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's like maps, websites with maps. Like if you live on this block, your house is probably bad with lead because it was all built during this time period when they were using a ton of lead in paint.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's lead.
That's lead.
We did asbestos, silica, hex, chrome.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about nuisance dust.
Nuisance dust sucks, and that was a new one for me this year. I didn't know there was a regulation on how much nuisance dust you could be exposed to. I thought that was just
define
bonkers.
it.
Define nuisance dust?
Yeah.
I was like, let's define regulations.
Yeah, let's define regulations.
Well, first you get real upset.
Nuisance dust is a dust that doesn't have a hazard in it. It doesn't have asbestos, silica.
It could just be
it's just like
natural
dust.
form dust. So probably mostly human skin cells.
Just like dust.
Like
like
wood fibers.
A really dirty plant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you breathe in a heavy amount of that,
Right.
even though it's non-hazardous,
Right.
the amount that you breathe in could jack up your lungs.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously, my lungs are designed to breathe in air,
Yeah.
and you start breathing in things other than air.
But there's a lot of employees who breathe in a lot of dust every day.
True.
Some of them could be over that permissible exposure limit,
Oh, yes.
getting adverse health conditions from it,
Mhm.
and could be the whole company could be open up to citations.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah. I've worked a couple nuisance dust cases before.
Really?
Yeah. And it was easy, not being hazardous. Same thing, you try to engineer it away
Okay.
so the dust isn't being created.
Okay.
Could we put in more of these vacuums? I can't think of the name. Dust cleaners, cleans the air of the dust.
A filter.
Yeah, but it's a machine. It's like a dust cleaner, like a
Dust collector.
dust collector.
Gotcha.
Duh.
It's these things that collect the dust.
Yeah.
A dust collector.
Can we put in more of those?
Right. Right.
Can we not make it somehow? Can we somehow enclose our machine process better so it's not just shooting out of the machine at all these
Right.
points?
Or sometimes it's just upping your regular housekeeping.
Yeah, but then it's a very specific way to clean because there's actual it's a chemical. It's like a powder you can put on the floor to help your dust not get airborne when you sweep it.
Okay.
Because if people, I'm sure you've saw some kids sweeping and he's just like airborne
He's just
everything
shooting,
that's
it's just
on
a
the ground,
cloud.
and you're like, dude, do it this way, and he gets all mad.
Okay.
I know how to sweep. Yeah, you know how to sweep and put it on the air. I'm gonna show you how to sweep and keep it on the ground, because you can go all crazy,
Right. Make a big old dust cloud.
Yeah, so if you're gonna control with housekeeping, there's still training.
Yeah.
And maybe even some chemicals, maybe a different product that you're using to clean with.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of regularly changing filters, regularly maintaining those dust collectors.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because
just making sure they don't get overloaded and then start,
yeah, definitely
just pumping stuff out.
Yeah, and you can't clean with compressed air.
Right. Well, you can if it's under 30 psi and you have appropriate chip guarding.
Well, no, you could. I'm not talking about clean yourself, because that's the 30 psi rule.
Continue to cleaning.
Yeah, because if I got a dust contaminated area, man, that compressed air works great.
Yeah.
A couple seconds, that whole area is clean now.
Horror.
But it's on the air.
Yeah.
So
now we're back to a different
If
problem.
we're talking about nuisance dust
Yeah.
and limiting employee exposure,
Not a
you're
good
not
way to do it.
completing with no.
Right.
So it's all the same, stuff. It's just easier because it's not hazardous per se.
Right.
All right, so nuisance dust is something we got to watch out for, and that's why the dust mask was invented, not the N95.
I was
The
watching
dust mask.
I was watching that video that they played. Do you remember it from we took that hazardous locations class?
Okay.
Remember that video where they were showing the different types of respiratory protection people used over the years? And some of them had figured out because of other airborne contaminants. They were wearing goat bladders.
Yeah.
They were
Old
using
school stuff.
different things they could breathe through that were kind of wet.
Right.
And they thought it was filtering out really well, but really didn't do them any good, and they still died.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
Oh,
trial and error.
Well, yeah,
The old goat bladder's not approved by NIOSH
The
anymore.
old goat bladder.
The old goat bladder. I guess
You
still got
there,
a
you
couple
got
in my
that
closet.
N95. Well, shoot, I got my old goat bladder.
The video I really liked was about the N95 and the whole electrostatic charge, how it draws the particles to the fibers. And,
That one's
you
pretty
look
cool.
at that thing, you go, that's just a glorified coffee filter. But it's not. There's actually tech inside there.
A ton, yeah.
Yeah.
Different threads are magnetized to different polarities.
Yeah, it's pretty
as
sick.
it's made. Yeah, it's a
So
really
it
cool
could actually
piece of tech.
filter out smaller particles than the filtering ability of it because of that electrostatic charge. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah. All right, so what else?
Well, anything that we talked about chemical vapors.
Right.
We brought those up. So, and I was just doing this yesterday. I was on a job site with a group of guys, And it's weird how I can always pick it out. It's like, that little tin you're using over there's got MEK in it.
Oh, you were dealing with methyl ethyl ketone?
Yeah.
On site?
Yeah.
You know what we call that?
Kill you quick.
Methyl ethyl kill you quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, guys, so we need our respiratory protection. They were on the top floor of a building getting constructed. And I got into it with the general a little bit. They put the air compressor, which was a gas-operated air compressor, on the top floor of this building. And they're running it. And there's no fall protection upstairs yet, so all the doors and windows are bolted shut. There's no ventilation to the building because it's still being constructed. So everybody working on this top floor is working with this big air compressor that's running full blast. And then, like, the one contractor...
Is it gasoline?
Gasoline.
Okay.
Okay? And this one contractor's got, like, 4 guys working, and each one has their own tin open with... It's a really powerful glue.
Okay.
Or it's a sealant/adhesive.
Okay.
And so they're all using it. And, man, by the time I got to that 5th floor, I seriously walked out of the stairwell and was like, woo!
Were you getting...
This floor is exciting, you know?
Getting a little lit?
Already.
You getting turnt? Were you getting faded?
I just walked in. And so I'm like, how are you guys doing? They're like, oh, we're having a good day. And
yeah,
I'm like,
really
no
great day. We're having a great day,
yeah.
man.
They're all getting sleepy. Hey, we're ready to pass out.
So you had carbon monoxide and methyl ethyl ketone as airborne contaminants.
Yep. Found a way to open up, get some ventilation.
Bad.
We went through their SDS sheet, got everybody down on another floor, got them some fresh air for a minute. We all took a little bit of a break. Had to talk to the general. Man, they had all sorts of airborne contaminants going on.
Yeah, that's bad. That'll kill you. I worked 2 carbon monoxide cases. One was a call from a plant where all their employees were complaining of illnesses.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember.
So they said, hey, you do that air monitoring thing?
Yeah,
I was like, sure, I can do that thing.
I do that thing.
So I usually start off with my 4-gas meter,
Yep.
just to see if anything's going on. And I'm walking around this plant. It's wintertime in Iowa. All the doors shut,
Right. It's cold.
And, my carbon monoxide sensor is picking up some. And I'm looking at the machines. They're hydraulic, pneumatic, electric, so I'm not worried about the machines so much.
They're not
putting
producing carbon monoxide.
So I'm like, where's this coming from? But I'm kind of happy. Like, oh, I think I found the issue, because carbon monoxide will kill you and make you sick for sure.
Yeah, it sneaks up on you too.
So then I'm like, well, what's an internal combustion engine in this place? We had 19 propane forklifts running around in this plant. 19 of them. And they only had a couple electric. The rest were propane. Indoor. It's a big plant.
So all internal combustion engines.
It's a big plant, but there's still 19 of them. And everything's closed up tight because it's winter. Nobody's opening the door in the winter in Iowa. So I started following them guys around. I had my little wand, and I'm following them. And it maxed out my sensor.
Yep.
Like, your sensor has a range how much it can pick up.
Yep.
And after that, it just says, like, max or something.
Yeah.
It was doing that.
Or peak. It's
yeah,
just like,
it was bad. And so I followed all of them around, and, I checked with the maintenance guy. I said, when's the last time you had those maintenance? This is supposed to be checked
every year.
Every year,
Yep.
He goes, oh, not too long ago.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, how long is that? And it was 10 years.
Oh, man.
10 years. So
he's only a decade overdue.
You would know more about this than I do, but they have some kind of water muffler on those things.
Yeah, and they have those little ones have quite a few little filtration systems in them. I believe they even have a little teeny catalytic converter to help pull out metal particulates and stuff. But they got quite a system to help keep all that stuff from getting into the air. And if it hasn't been maintained in 10 years, I'm guessing all of it is past due.
Yeah, it was bad. So this plant is just making hundreds of employees sick.
Jeez.
Just for improper forklift maintenance.
Yeah.
But it was an easy fix.
Right.
So
that's an airborne contaminant for sure.
Yeah. The other one I worked, carbon monoxide case, they were just bringing me in to do general air monitoring,
How's our air?
There wasn't any really complaints or anything.
Okay.
So I get in this one room, and my carbon monoxide sensor's going off.
Okay.
And it's a plant. So, again, I'm looking at machineries. I didn't see anything that could do that.
Okay.
And this really baffled us for a while. I was like,
trying to figure it out.
I'm going to find the source. I was like,
where's it coming from?
Yeah, I was like mad about it. I was like, I'm going to find the source.
Laying there awake at night. Where's the carbon monoxide?
And so we're just hunting and hunting and hunting and hunting. And then I found it.
Bum, bum, bum.
It was a pressure washer.
Okay.
A portable.
Little gas operated.
Yep, little cheapo. Not even a real big, cool one.
Okay.
You know, gas operated pressure
So it was like
washer.
mobile. That's why
It's like a lawnmower engine.
if you go in there after it had been used, though, it hadn't had a chance to get that extra carbon monoxide out, so you detect it, but then it would already be gone by the time you went and checked that room.
This one was running. It's a big plant, though, you know, a big area, so I didn't even hear it until I got close, and then that's what turned me on to it, because I heard an engine.
And you were like, aha.
Aha! So we found it, and I put my my wand up to the exhaust on that, and it was just spewing out carbon monoxide like crazy.
Well, yeah.
And who thinks about that, though? Oh, I got a pressure wash today. Let me go get our old pressure washer we've used for 10 years and, you know, get it going. And
who's going to be thinking that I just poisoned myself?
I just poisoned me and everybody else in this area.
Yeah.
So, yeah, carbon monoxide's one.
For sure.
The dangerous thing about CO is it's colorless and odorless.
Yes.
And its vapor density
is approximately 1.
Yeah.
That's near 1.
Yeah. Do you know the actual one for number?
No.
It's 0.96.
Oh, wow.
That's from the slide
for carbon monoxide.
Yeah, I just taught it last week, so it's fresh in my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's what, you know, if we were talking about water terms, we would say neutral buoyant.
Right.
But it's like that, but in the air. It's not going to the top. It's not going to the bottom. It's just where you're at. It's just with the air. So that's bad.
Regular air vapor density is 1. So anything that's got a vapor density approximate to 1, you know, a little below, a little above, it'll just kind of blend in and not go anywhere.
I think we shouldn't do airborne contaminant, airborne hazard show in our region of the world without at least mentioning the name of anhydrous ammonia.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Anhydrous ammonia is prevalent out here. It's everywhere. It's in every plant. It's on every highway.
When was the last time you were in a plant with anhydrous?
I would say yesterday, but it wasn't yesterday.
Okay. It's frequently, though.
Yeah, it's frequent.
It's frequent. And if one of them production lines busted, if a forklift hit that, I've seen guys stand on them before that shouldn't stand on them.
I told you I was super surprised the other, and this was not far from Sioux City. It was technically out of town, but we were climbing on the top of a building, and I was like, oh, how do we get over to that thing? They were like, oh, you just climb on these. And I looked down, and it says anhydrous ammonia. I was like, we just climb on this? Oh, well, otherwise we got to walk all the way around. I'm like, well, let's go for a walk.
Yeah. you could use it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not good.
If you pop that pipe, man, that is slightly heavier than air, so it is going to go up, but it is going to take everybody out that breathes it.
Yeah.
That's one hitter quitter stuff there.
Yeah, you got seconds.
Snoop Dogg and his chronic ain't got nothing on anhydrous ammonia.
Get out of here.
Well, they call that the good marijuana. They call one hitter quitter.
Okay.
At least when I was very young.
I gotcha.
But I call anhydrous ammonia one hitter quitter.
Well, you're dead.
Yeah, you one hit and you're done.
That's it.
Yeah, they meant one hit and you're high.
I gotcha.
You don't need to smoke a whole joint. Just one hit and you're high. It's so powerful. So I actually use that in my classes.
So you say that for your anhydrous?
Yeah.
I just show a video of people dying.
Yeah, well, no, I do that too. But I say one hitter quitter, and then all the young guys like perk up.
They get it?
They get it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm using a drug analogy.
I gotcha. It's a little weird, but okay. I'll take it.
The safety guy was talking about weed today.
That was awesome. What was he talking about? I don't know. Weed.
It's this new kind called anhydrous ammonia. Where do we get it?
Oh, no.
No, but speaking about drugs and anhydrous ammonia, there's people that die frequently that are trying to make meth who go steal it, try to steal it from the nurse tanks from the farmers.
Right.
And they're not trained. They don't have the right PPE, so they're not working them valves right. They're not putting in appropriate containers.
Oh, no.
And they die. They kill themselves.
Oh, yeah. They're probably right next to the tank.
Anhydrous ammonia, inhalation. Ugh. And if you're ever driving next to a vehicle carrying it, it says poison inhalation hazard or inhalation hazard. It's right on there.
Placard number is, I think, 1005.
I couldn't fact check that right this second.
Pretty sure.
So, yeah, anhydrous, if you're working at a plant with that, your process safety management's got to be on point.
Yes.
You protecting those pipes got to be on point.
Oh, yes.
Anybody handling it, dealing with it, doing line breaks. I mean, It could even be explosive. A lot of people don't know about anhydrous.
Yeah.
But if you get it right in the flammable range, if you get it in the sweet spot, and there is enough oxygen and ignition source present, it will go boom.
Yeah, anhydrous explosions are huge. There's some really cool Blevy videos out there of it too.
Right. All right, man. Well, I think we did a good overview on airborne hazards.
Heck yeah.
There's probably a few more we could touch on. Maybe 5 years from now, we'll go back and talk about each one of these specifically.
Let's do it.
But for Mr. AJ Hanscom, I'm Aaron Icino. Together, we are the
Evil Safety Dudes.
We'll see you next time. Stay safe out there.